We're on screen.
All right, guys. So we are on. Good evening. It's November 18th, Wednesday, 6 p.m. We are here with United Medical ACO Diabetes Program, Wednesday Wellness Webinar. We are going to start our PowerPoint. All right. So I have wonderful people with me tonight. Well, this is actually Amy's show. I'm just a sidekick. So again, my name is Kamal Erkan. I'm the chairman of United Medical ACO. Our program director is Dr. Ripu Handal from First Aid Endo, and our clinical integration from the business office side is Donna Gunkel. And I'll leave this to Amy from here.
Okay, well, thank you very much. If you could, do we want to introduce the rest of our team? And Tim, our physical therapist, and Jackie, our social worker. And that's our wellness team. So tonight is our Wednesday wellness webinar, which we're doing twice a month on Wednesdays. Could I have the next? I can't change it. If I could have the next slide. Thank you. We are talking twice a month, if you caught our other webinars, about diabetes. So all of the different things that go in with diabetes. What does it do to your heart, your kidneys, your feet, your mental health for social work, and we've talked about exercise. So we're very lucky today to have two dietitians from ShopRite with us to talk to us about groceries, because as we know, eating is a big part of diabetes. Of course, we're dietitians, so we believe strongly in it. So Samantha did a tour for us. She's going to talk a little bit about that. So I would like to welcome Cassandra and Samantha. Thank you so much for coming. We do have a lot of ShopRite shoppers that we see, and there's always a lot of questions. Well, what kind of bread do I buy? What kind of brand? What does it look like? Can you show me? Can you write that down? What to get? So we're so happy to have you here to do all this. And could we have the next slide, please? Thank you. All right, so I am going to, we're going to watch a little clip of the video. The entire video is available on our YouTube channel to watch. It's 18 minutes. And Samantha will talk to you in a bit after our little clip. She took you through the entire store. So to go through what is good produce, all produce is good produce. But she points that out very nicely. Good selections of dairy and bread and greens and meat. So if you have questions, what kind of fish do I buy? She points it out for you. So we are going to watch a nice little clip of her video. Kamal, are you able to pull that up?
So I'm assuming that it is this guy here, right?
Yes, you just need to put that into the web browser and bring it up. Please.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
It's a good thing we have such great tech support. Beyond my capability here.
So after the last week's event, I didn't want to go home for any technical issues, but right before this meeting, I had some technical difficulties. Now, for whatever reason, Google, when I do this, Google Drive thinks that I'm Chinese.
Oh, so, do you understand what that says?
I have zero idea. Usually I just click on the blue one, but I won't this time. So I'm going to click, Donna, I'm going to ask you if you can see the outside of the Zoom, if you are able to hear this. So I'm going to click here. Okay, let's see. Okay, I don't hear the, I'm going to take it to Chrome. Maybe on the Chrome we can. Okay, so the audio. Let's see, I'm going to cancel this. And all right, see here.
When you shared your screen, did you click share computer audio?
on the Zoom. Yeah, let me see if that, but I don't even hear it from my side. I don't hear it either. But
that are also
like
diabetes
right now, I did.
Let's
Is
get
it?
started.
Can you hear it?
Yeah,
Yes.
you can hear it.
Most of the time, the first section that
I
you
wish I could hear
encounter
it
is the
too.
produce
But
section.
should I start
Here is
from the
where you
beginning?
find
Could
fresh
you
fruits
please
and
start from the
vegetables, as
beginning?
well as
Thank you.
Yes.
Mm.
Welcome to the Diabetes Friendly Foods Grocery Store Tour. My name is Samantha, and today I will be taking you around ShopRite to guide you through a grocery store tour focusing on healthy foods that are also diabetes friendly. Let's get started. Most of the time, the first section that you encounter is the produce section. Here is where you find fresh fruits and vegetables, as well as other products such as bagged salad, salad dressings, nuts, and dried fruits. Looking around, you can see there is a wide variety of colors and types of fruits and vegetables. Each color provides something a little different nutritionally, so it is important to incorporate a variety of colors in your diet. When it comes to fruits, you want to be sure that you are getting enough, but not too much. Most individuals with diabetes should have 2 to 3 servings of fruit daily. One serving of fruit would be something like 1 medium apple, 1/2 of a large banana, or about 8 strawberries. With vegetables, it is important to know which are considered starchy and which are not. Starchy vegetables are higher in carbohydrates and include potatoes, corn, peas, and squash. You should aim to consume about 2 to 4 servings of vegetables daily. One serving of vegetables is about 10 baby carrots, 1/2 cup cooked vegetables, or 1 cup of fresh leafy greens. Remember, when it comes to fruits and vegetables, there are no bad choices. Here we have the refrigerated salad dressings. When choosing salad dressings, look for those with lower calories and fat. Good options would be vinaigrette or Greek yogurt-based dressings. Here we have a Greek yogurt-based blue cheese dressing and a traditional blue cheese dressing. As you can see, the yogurt-based blue cheese dressing has significantly less calories and fat than the traditional blue cheese dressing. The deli section provides fresh cut deli meats and cheeses. Look for better quality brands or meats baked in store for less filler. Limit intake of salami, ham, roast beef, and bologna. Better options for deli meats include turkey and chicken. You can also see if your store has a low sodium option. You also want to limit your intake of cheese and be sure you are getting a proper portion. If you are watching your salt intake, Swiss cheese is a good choice. With cheese, portion size depends on thickness. One medium thickness slice of cheese is about 1 ounce, while thick sliced may be 1 ounce or more. A great tip is to get your deli meats and cheese thinly sliced or cut in half and purchase smaller portions at a time to avoid overeating. The dairy section is where you will find milk, yogurt, cheese, butter, and other dairy products. When choosing cow's milk, choose the reduced fat, low fat, or fat-free option. Milk is a good source of vitamin D and calcium. However, there are other ways to get these vitamins if you are dairy-free. If you prefer to drink plant-based milk, you want to look at the protein and sugar content. Unsweetened, plain, plant-based milks are the best choice due to the high sugar content of flavor milks. Look at the label for any added sugars. Almond milk and soy milk are good choices. Oat milk is sometimes higher in carbohydrates and a poor source of protein. Comparing this plain soy milk to vanilla soy milk, the plain has 0 grams of added sugars, while the vanilla has 15 grams of added sugars per serving. Pea protein milk is a great source of protein, but continue to monitor the added sugars. This milk with pea protein has 0 grams of added sugars and 8 grams of protein in 1 serving. Greek yogurt is a better choice for people with diabetes as it has more protein and less carbohydrates. There are a ton of options for Greek yogurt. This is another product where you really want to look out for added sugars. The new Nutrition Facts label has a specific line where you can find the added sugar amount in foods. Buying plain Greek yogurt is the best choice when it comes to flavor. As you can see, the plain Greek yogurt on the left has 0 grams of added sugars, while the flavored Greek yogurt has 11 grams. This flavored Greek yogurt with toppings has 16 grams of added sugars. For good Greek yogurt choices, look at Too Good, Dannon Light and Fit Greek, Oikos 000, or Chobani Complete. Skyr is also a great option due to its high protein content. Greek yogurt is extremely versatile and can be used in a number of recipes in exchange of higher fat ingredients and can be made into spreads or salad dressings. When choosing bread, opt for 100% whole wheat. It is important to note that not all brown bread or bread labeled wheat is 100% whole wheat. You want to make sure that the packaging says 100% whole wheat and that the first ingredient is whole wheat flour. These two breads are dark in color, but only one is 100% whole wheat. The first ingredient in the honey wheat bread is enriched wheat flour. Thin sliced bread is better than thick slices due to it having less calories and carbohydrates. Look for 3 grams of fiber or more per slice. These labels are the same bread with different thicknesses. The regular slices have 120 calories per slice with 23 grams of carbohydrates, while the thin slices has 70 calories per slice and 13 grams of carbohydrates. Good choices include Dave's Killer Thin Sliced Bread, Sara Lee or Nature's Own 100% whole wheat pitas, carb control wraps. English muffins are a better choice than bagels for a breakfast bread. If you are interested in doing some research beforehand to save some time at the store, ShopRite Shop from Home gives you access to products and nutrition facts labels in each store right on your computer or phone. If you have any questions or would like more personalized nutrition recommendations, contact your registered dietitian or certified diabetes educator. Thanks for joining me.
Well, thank you for that. So Kamal, if you can go back to the PowerPoint. Sorry to make you do all these, jump through all these hoops. I'm glad you know how to do that.
All right, so
And while he's doing that, that sounded really loud. I just wanted to thank Samantha. You did a great job. I know we did such a small version, but we will put the full version out there for everyone to see on our website. And our dietitians will be recommending that everyone, watch the full version.
So we have, are we all echoing?
I'm not sure where we're all echoing.
Come on.
I don't know if it's me. Is it echoing still?
No.
So it's okay now?
You're the only one not echoing.
What's that?
You're the only one not echoing.
Okay, so is the problem still there?
Yes.
Okay, so maybe I need to stop sharing the hold on one second. The computer. Okay, how about now?
Donna? Oh, okay, we're back.
So
Yes.
for the video, when I had to share the sound of the PC, that's probably what the problem was.
Okay, thank you. So Samantha also made us a great map of the store and the store can be overwhelming, especially if you want to go in and out quickly, as we probably all do right now. So I wanted to talk to you both about some highlights, some things, Cassandra, questions you typically get from shoppers, Samantha, things that stood out for you in the store. I don't know who wants to take that first, that question.
You can
let Sam start and then I'll follow up.
So some things that I noticed when walking around, something that I probably wouldn't notice if I wasn't educated in this area, is that you really need to look at the ingredients and the nutrition facts labels. You can't look at bread and just choose it based off the color. You can't look at fruit, the canned or packaged fruits and vegetables and know that they don't have added sugar or sodium just from looking at them. You have to read the labels and know what's in your food. The new nutrition facts label is very, very helpful because it separates added sugars from naturally occurring sugars. So you can really see if the sugars in your food are all added, if they're mostly added, if they're all natural. And just reading the labels is very beneficial when shopping and trying to eat on the healthier side.
Yeah, that's a really good point. We talk about that you can't just rely on the front because it's marketing on the front. And so teaching people how to read a label is a good skill. And you're right. I've been waiting for this label because there was a delay. And Cassandra, I'm sure you too, especially with yogurt, because if it's regular yogurt, it has sugar because it has milk. And then so you had to compare the plain to the flavored to see what the difference was. And now they took all that work out. So Cassandra, what kind of things do you typically stand out for you when you're seeing shoppers or working?
One of the typical things I like to tell shoppers too is everyone's seen my plate and how sort of our food should look, as half our plate should be fruits and vegetables, a quarter protein, and a quarter whole grains. So I always try to get people to think of that. That's how their cart should look. So when you're checking out, most of your cart should be predominantly fruits and vegetables, a little bit, a quarter protein and a quarter carbs. Even if you are picking up snack food, people tend to, forget about snack food, and that sort of takes up a lot of their cart. So it really shouldn't. So we try to remind people to look at that. And then also with the new nutrition facts labels, one of the great things about it is it's finally a reasonable serving size. So a quarter of a pint of Ben & Jerry's, while yes, technically that should have been a serving size, nobody actually sat there and measured out a quarter of a pint of Ben & Jerry's. So now it shows you a quarter cup, but it also shows you the whole thing. So it just helps you make better informed decisions. And then some of the other questions I typically get are just how to prepare quick and easy, healthy meals. And one of the things I like to remind people is fresh, as far as fresh versus frozen, and fruits and vegetables, especially on a budget, frozen and canned vegetables can be a great option. Canned if you get the reduced sodium or the no salt added and rinse them, or frozen. But like Sam said, you have to read the nutrition facts. So it's very important to remember to read the nutrition facts and make sure you're not getting, broccoli with cheese sauce, you're just getting plain broccoli. But those are really quick options to sort of put together a meal really quickly. They go great with some sort of rotisserie chickens are always a great option. They're sort of a lean protein option. And then I also like to, and this is just one thing that sticks out in my head every time, it's chicken breast, the individually portioned chicken breast. They're I think Purdue has a brand, ShopRite has a brand. I'm sure the other grocery stores have a brand, but they come individually packaged. And those tend to be sort of the 100-calorie or a more reasonable serving size. If you went and got a chicken breast, sometimes that can weigh up to a half a pound, one chicken breast. And a serving size is 4 ounces. So I like to tell people, especially if you're, there's only 1 or 2 of you, it's a great way to just get an individual size portion. And then I think that's usually what I talk about. And then, one of the things I like to remind people too is unit pricing, and sort of how to tell unit pricing is a big thing, making sure you're making an informed decision on if you're trying to watch your budget, look at the unit price. It's something else I like to remind people about.
I really like what I hadn't thought about, of course we always talk about the plate and, and your meat and your starch and your vegetables, but the cart, I hadn't thought about your cart. And I was thinking, oh, what does mine look like? What is there? It's my green or my.
Especially when it's going on the conveyor belt, because Sam knows this, but one of our stores, you can see above and kind of watch people and watch them go down the belt. And so it's a good way to see, what people buying, what are the ratio. So
I think I'll be nervous when I'm shopping. Just looking at my belt from above. And the other thing I wanted to ask you both is now, I did for the first time since June, I put in an Instacart order. So I know there's more people doing that. So you talked briefly about the shop from home at the end, Sam.
Mm-hmm.
So if you could, one of you could talk a little bit about how easy that is. It's something in the spring when a lot of my patients were like, I'm just not eating healthy because I'm afraid to go to the store. I'm like, oh, but you can order online.
Yeah. So we actually utilize 2 different delivery platforms. So we use Instacart. So if you are an Instacart member, you can use Instacart. Instacart, though, does mark up our prices a little bit to cover their fees. And then we also have our ShopRite from home option, which you can do pickup and delivery. And that's at 4 of our different locations now. So it used to be just at our ShopRite of Four Seasons Plaza in Glasgow, and then our ShopRite of Christina Crossings in Wilmington. And we've expanded it to now be at our Concord store. It's on 202 right across from the Concord Mall, as well as our Stanton store at First State Plaza on Newport Pike. So now we have 4 locations where we're offering it, 4 out of our 6 locations. So we are trying to expand it just because there is such a demand for that right now. You know, a lot of people aren't comfortable. And we do have 2 options. You can do delivery. Most people are within the delivery zone. In, I would say, in Newcastle County, we pretty much have a good cover of it, and even into Pennsylvania a little bit. And then I lost my train of thought. But it is a good option. It is an easy option. And we're trying to expand that as much as possible. So there are usually spots filled up. So if you just go to ShopRite.com, you put in your address and it'll select the store that's closest to you for you to use. And then
there are more people ordering. I'm assuming that there are more people ordering online right now than coming.
Absolutely. Our that department has grown dramatically, so much so that we had to open it in 2 different stores just because we couldn't handle it in the stores we were having now. And we've seen an uptick the past 2 weeks also in the amount of orders.
And we are seeing that the ordering online for patients, especially with patients with diabetes, it's easier for them to pick what they really need to pick, because they can actually, so it's actually maybe in a good way. This is, you know, I try to find some good, try to put a good spin on every problem. So like maybe during this time, patients are more careful what they're buying if they're doing more online shopping, hopefully.
Yes, there's definitely less of the impulse buys. Yeah. So
I know in the spring, I did all end of March, all of April, all of May. I didn't enter foot into a store until the middle of June, and I just put in an order for Friday. But I noticed that I was spending less because I wasn't like, oh, that's on sale. That looks good. That looks good. It was like, all right, I need to get milk and I need to get chicken and tuna and cat food, and everything was planned out. There was no, oh, those look like good chips.
Exactly.
So, and there's no, I mean, our patients talk about, you know, they worry about food. And some people will say they worry about the shoppers picking out their produce. I mean, I will testify that I've always had good produce. And if you're worried about that, you can, so for example, I ordered romaine hearts. So those are already packaged in a bag. You know, if you're worried about them picking out your apples, you can be very specific. And I've never had trouble with them picking out bad produce.
Yeah, so you can put as many notes in. So I encourage you to do that because we do read them. I've actually, when we get really busy, I've had to shop a few orders too to help just to kind of, so I've read people's comments. And then also just before I forget, I wanted to point this out. We do accept SNAP an EBT for delivery now. That's new. We were able to get approval for that recently. So if that is a lot of people, it's definitely increased. So, you know, that is also an option now too.
That is really good to know. So we have people who, you know, groceries are expensive and then they worry about going out. So that's great.
I have one quick question about the online shopping. So just because I think for people that haven't done it, maybe this is a good question. You go to ShopRite.com, but then they pick a day, and then are there certain slots for times of the day? So if they're all full, then you have to pick a different day. Is that how that works?
Yeah, that's how, and we just changed that recently just because we had an increased demand. We changed it a little bit. So you reserve a slot first, and then you can fill your shopping cart, just so you don't fill your shopping cart and then find out there's no slots and then have to refill it or something happens. So you can reserve a spot and then go shop, and it'll save your order, and it makes it a little bit easier. And also, so you know, and you can keep adding to your order as you go. You know, if you decide that, oh, I forgot to put tuna fish in there, you can go back and put it in. You still have that reserved time spot as long as the order hasn't been chopped. So if you put an order in for tomorrow, anytime during the day before it, you can usually add on.
And you can be very specific. Like if you only want Star-Kissed tuna, you can pick that. And as Cassandra said, you can write in your note, I don't want any other brands. No Star-Kissed, no tuna. If that's what you want. All right. Kamal or Donna, any other questions, or Sam or Cassandra, anything else you want to add about the store before we go into fall and holiday food?
I did remember one thing, the ShopRite, sometimes with store brands at certain grocery stores, it's sometimes better to pick the other brands, but the ShopRite brand, so they have Wholesome Pantry and Bowl and Basket, if I'm correct, and they are just very good quality store brand foods. Especially, I show in the video some of the Wholesome Pantry snacks on the healthier side, and they have really good ingredients. So I really like the store brands, and they're very cost effective if you're on a budget.
Oh, that's good to know. I'm glad you pointed that out. I will say, last note on the video, that the yogurt selection is enormous. It's like
looks
a
great.
wall of yogurt in that store.
We have every kind of yogurt. I can't even kid you not. It's ridiculous how many options of yogurt, and we don't even have them all. So
I could tell you guys do have a really good, I know I used to refer people up to the Concord store for a big kosher selection. And then the Four Seasons one has such a good non-dairy selection also. You know, whatever else, you know, almond, cashew, oat, whatever, it's there, which is really nice.
But since you guys are talking about yogurts, I just want to make sure that people also know there's no difference between Turkish yogurt and Greek yogurt. It's the same thing.
Yeah, well, I'm glad. So I just had a patient last week talk about Turkish yogurt and Indian yogurt. So I had some education. I'm glad you brought that up because it's not something.
It's the same thing. Same difference.
good. I learned something too.
Well, good.
Well, actually, Chobani guy who owns the Chobani is Turkish, but he knows that it was the Greek, like how it's known as the Greek yogurt. So he used the Greek instead of Turkish. So,
That's interesting. Okay. Now we're not quite, if you can go back up, we're not there yet.
so
You should be on fall. There we go. All right. So Sam's going to talk a little bit about fall food.
Awesome. Yeah, so the fall months are a wonderful time to take advantage of the in-season produce. A lot of them you probably know because they always come up around this time, but if you want to find what is in season in your geographical area, you can find that easily online. And the autumn harvest is filled with a ton of antioxidant and fiber-packed foods to boost your health. These also add some excitement to some recipes. So some great fall picks, they're listed here on the slide. And these foods contain beneficial antioxidants to help keep your body healthy in a number of ways. So pumpkin and butternut squash are full of beta carotene, which is where their bright orange color comes from, similar to carrots. In the body, beta carotene is converted to vitamin A, which improves your skin and eye health. Kale is great. Kale is filled with really good nutrients such as vitamin A, C, and K, as well as a mineral called manganese. Beets and cranberries contain beneficial compounds, which can help with healthy blood pressure and urinary tract. And with not much to do around the house, getting creative in the kitchen could be fun. So you can try incorporating a number of these great produce picks into your recipes. Some of my favorites are butternut squash mac and cheese, salads with cranberries and kale and apples in them, or banana bread. I add pumpkin puree to it and it gives it a really nice fall taste. And then another great food to add to your plate during the fall is, or really any time of the year, is whole grains. Whole grains contain high levels of B vitamins, which have been found to help improve mood and may help reduce seasonal affective disorder. So seasonal affective disorder is a mood disorder characterized by depression that occurs around the same time every year, typically when you're in a climate where there's less sunlight during certain times of the year. And there's a very strong link between good nutrition and decreased risk and symptoms of seasonal affective disorder. So in addition to B vitamins, which I mentioned were in whole grains, also meat, dairy, and eggs, vitamin D is also a key nutrient in fighting the winter blues. Vitamin D may help regulate your mood via its hormonal mechanisms. Your body can get vitamin D from sunlight or through food. So good food sources of vitamin D include milk, egg yolks, mushrooms, and fish that has bones in it. And you can also get vitamin D in supplement form, but before purchasing or significantly altering your diet, it's really important to get your vitamin D levels checked by a professional.
Thank you. I'm glad that you talked about that, especially now, because with more people staying inside with COVID, I think it's probably it's going to be even more of an issue this year. So I'm glad you talked about those foods with that. So I'm going to talk about holiday eating next, and you two are certainly welcome to chime in on the eating season, as some of my patients call this time of year. And there's often a lot of people don't want to come in and see me this time of year because they're like, well, why bother? I know I'm going to be eating, but I always encourage them, if you're going to wait until January 1st, things are just going to get worse. So let's start now, that you don't have to give up on good blood sugar, good blood pressure, weight loss. You can still eat well. You can still enjoy some holiday foods and stay healthy all at the same time. So it could just be good eating season, not eating everything season. Could I have the next slide, please? Thank you. So common Thanksgiving foods that people typically eat: turkey, stuffing, gravy, mashed potatoes, sweet potatoes, macaroni and cheese, green bean casserole, rolls, butter, different pies, pumpkin, apple, sweet potato, pecan. What did I miss? Does anybody want to add anything that's on their table?
I'm a big fan of cherry pie.
The chair. Oh, sorry. You should have put that on.
Cherry sauce.
Cherry pie.
The squash, is it the squash soup?
Oh, squash soup.
Oh, the butternut squash soup?
Yeah, that
Oh,
is.
yeah. So, and butternut squash, I think in general could be on there because that's a pretty, Sam talked about the fall food and pretty common. Yeah.
Cranberries is not on there.
Oh my goodness, that's a big one.
How did we forget the cranberries?
I don't know.
That usually happens at my mom. We're halfway through dinner and she's like, oh, I forgot to put the cranberries out. So yes.
So I guess for the cranberry, like for some of these things, if they are getting them like fresh and make them versus if they get it on a can, the option of making any of these not out of the can is better option, right?
Well, I mean, cranberries are something that would be interesting because if you've ever made cranberry sauce, it's cranberries and sugar, really, and a lot of sugar and possibly some water. Whereas, and you two correct me if I'm wrong, you can probably buy something with less sugar that has some sort of artificial sweetener in there. I could be wrong. Cassandra, I don't know if you're familiar with
Yeah, they have some that are low sugar, but I also recommend kind of making it yourself because you can use orange juice or something with a little less added sugar. And then it gives it more flavor and you don't need as much. And it has less sugar because it's not canned, it's not preserved.
So, and you're going to get more of the nutrients too. You're right, because it's not down. But come on, for the rest, really, you're right. I mean, if you do your own turkey, and I'm going to talk about turkey in a few slides where you can get a, if it's a fresh turkey, it's not going to be injected with so much sodium. You make, and basically things that you buy out that are prepared are they usually have a lot of salt, fat, things added to them. So certainly cooking yourself is always going to be healthier than getting out. There are prepared healthier foods. You just have to be more of a detective when you're shopping. Could I have the next slide, please? I don't know if I can, oh no, I can't move.
Can you see it?
No, I can't see the next one.
What do
Still
you
on
see?
common Thanksgiving foods and your cranberries.
Don, is that the same for you? Donna? Can you guys hear me?
Yes,
So I'm going to try to share again.
I think Donna might be frozen.
All right. How about now?
All right, so you started screen sharing. So all mine says is you've started screen sharing. I can't see.
Yeah, I'm actually watching it from the live side, so then it is, it is probably my connection. It will be back,
Okay.
hopefully.
So I could start talking about healthy Thanksgiving. I don't know the order of my slides in, but
What I'll do is I'm going to stop sharing so then they can see us all together. It seems like going to the sharing part is the problem.
okay. So talking about, yeah.
We are on the how to make healthy choices for the holiday, for the Thanksgiving.
Oh, all right. So
Yeah, I can't see the slide. Unfortunately, the sharing didn't work out. But
I should just pull mine up so I can see it on the side here. Can you all still see me or no?
Yes, we
Yeah,
can.
we can.
Okay, I wasn't sure if you can't see what I'm pulling up on my screen.
No.
That's a good thing. Okay. So we're not seeing everything that's in here. I'm going to pull mine up just so I'm making sure I don't
Try
forget.
again, so that maybe.
There you
So-
go.
Oh, we've got it. Okay, great. So how to make healthy choices. Thank you. I was trying to remember where I was. Turkey is a naturally lean meat. So turkey by itself is the centerpiece of our Thanksgiving dinner, is a healthy choice. Frozen turkeys can have a lot of sodium injected. So especially if you have high blood pressure, it's something you want to look for. A fresh turkey is the healthiest option, but they are more expensive. So, and then if there's less of you, I'm actually cooking Thanksgiving dinner for the very first time this year because we're not traveling. And there's only 3 of us and not big meat eaters. So I bought a frozen turkey breast. And then you have all white meat. So that certainly can be a healthier option, especially if you have less people this year or you're cooking. When you're using broth for stuffing to make a more wet stuffing, look for low sodium broth. It's an easy way to cut the sodium down in it. And certainly making your own stuffing, tearing your own bread. Can be a healthier choice. Somebody I was talking to yesterday said, well, I really like to use potato bread for stuffing. And he said, well, Martin's makes whole wheat potato bread. It still tastes like potato bread. So try that. So look to see for some healthier bread. Now, you may only eat stuffing on Thanksgiving and that's it. So if you really like the squishy white bread for your stuffing, I would use that and I would enjoy it, but just you don't need to eat the whole plate of stuffing. Lower fat evaporated milk is something that really doesn't make a difference in cooking. The thickness, the quality of it, it's usually going in with something else with a lot of flavor. Traditional green bean casserole, thinking about sliced almonds, which are crunchy instead of fried onions. Non-fat Greek yogurt is really versatile. So you can use it in place of mayonnaise. You can use it in place of sour cream. So you're not going to have the fat, you're going to have the protein. And then if you're adding a lot of spice to it, you're not going to miss that taste of the mayo or of the sour cream. And then something like roasted Brussels sprouts. Sam just talked about a lot of really nice seasonal vegetables. So or a seasonal salad. And she has a nice kale salad. I'm going to post on her Facebook page that recipe. So serving something like that. And if you are going to somebody else's house for Thanksgiving and you think, oh, well, there's going to be macaroni and cheese and stuffing and turkey, why don't I offer to bring a vegetable? So I know I can have a healthy choice along on my plate also. Could I have the next slide, please? Come on. Thank you. So for Thanksgiving Day, so waking up, eat a good breakfast. Some people think, well, I'm going to eat a huge Thanksgiving dinner, so I'm not going to eat all day. And then they sit down to this giant plate. It's not good for your blood sugar or blood pressure to sit and eat this giant meal at one time. So it's a good idea to eat a good breakfast, something that's got some fiber and protein. You could have oatmeal, you could have some eggs and some fruit, you could have an English muffin, peanut butter and some berries. Don't wait until dinner. And then exercise, get up, move around, do a turkey trot, go for a walk, rake some leaves, vacuum. If you do have people coming, you might need to scrub your floors and vacuum. That's exercise. For your blood sugar, if you're eating a nice big Thanksgiving dinner, one of the best things you can do is go for a walk. Don't go lay down on the couch, even though it's very tempting. Get up and go for a walk around the block. Your muscles use glucose, so it's going to pull it out of your blood. It's not magic. So you're not going to be able to eat a huge meal and then have nice, perfect blood sugar afterwards, but it's going to help. So it doesn't have to be long and it doesn't have to be fast. You just put your shoes on and go out and go for a walk. It's also good for digestion. And then enjoy. Like I said earlier, you might only eat stuffing once a year. You might only eat your Aunt Edna's macaroni and cheese once a year. So whatever it is that you're having, enjoy it. And remember that this food will happen again next year though. So if you see pumpkin pie, there's now for one thing, and our grocery store people can attest, there's pumpkin pie year round now anyway, but there will be pumpkin pie next year. So this is not like a once in a lifetime thing. So if somebody brings your favorite dessert, you don't have to finish the whole thing off because it will be back again next year. So enjoy a slice, enjoy every bite. I'm not a big fan of, I'm going to eat all the diet desserts because they don't taste as good. I'd rather you have a moderate portion of a real dessert and enjoy it.
So Amy, so the reason I kind of took it from the PowerPoint, took it off from PowerPoint. So you are saying all these, like, if it's easy to do. So sounds great, but how are we going to do it, right? So now I just want to remind our audience that this is for our diabetes group mainly. I mean, we are actually talking to everyone, but if the patient, I mean, if the person doesn't have diabetes, and if, let's say, I always use our business development, like, the guys in the office, they're 24, 25, 26, BMI 22, 23. So they exercise 2 hours a day. So they can do whatever they want to do that day, right? So we are not really concerned about what's going on with them. But I think the concern that for the same anticipation going into the Thanksgiving Day and thinking that you are going to have one big meal, that's setting everyone up for a failure. Is that?
Yeah, it's true. I mean, we do really want people to be able to enjoy their Thanksgiving. I mean, if you're taking insulin, you need to pay attention. Talk to your doctor. Do you need extra insulin that day? It's not a day to skip your medication. You should be checking your blood sugar. Oh, my blood sugar is really high after the meal. Definitely go for a walk. Water, drink a nice big glass of water because it will dilute the sugar in your blood. So, and you're right, Kamal, it's not easy. I mean, everybody wants to eat and it's food, it's Thanksgiving, and it's a stressful year too. So people definitely want to eat this year. And there aren't a lot of famous healthy Thanksgiving foods. There's no like famous Thanksgiving salad. We think about Thanksgiving food. We think about pie. I guess turkey's healthy, but we think about pie and potatoes and stuffing and gravy. But how I like to talk to my patients, it's one day. So you don't have to really be super strict that day. You can indulge. You just can't, like you said, other people who can possibly eat everything and just might feel a little bit sluggish. You can't eat everything, but can you have a piece of pie and some stuffing? Yes. Now, if there's 4 types of potatoes, do you have to eat all the potatoes? No. Why? So if I'm going to somebody else's house and there's potatoes and stuffing and sweet potatoes. Oh, and look, this is number 3 on my next tip. And there's rolls. Do I have to really pick all of them? I really like my mom's stuffing. So I don't usually eat potatoes because I don't care about potatoes. I'd rather have stuffing. I like my mother-in-law's rolls. So this year I like my rolls. So I'll be eating my rolls and not the potatoes or the stuffing because that's what I like. So making sort of that sacrifice, knowing what you like, enjoying it in moderation. And it's not easy. Number 1 with that is keep up with your exercise routine. It's really, really busy during the holidays. So there's always a lot of activities. There's stuff to do, probably less this year, but this year we're also going to possibly be more trapped at home. And it was really cold today. So people might, what I'm hearing, well, I don't want to go outside when it's too cold. So can you go up and down the stairs in your house? If you're watching TV, every time a commercial comes on, can you get up and move around? Carry your phone and track your steps. Something like Leslie Sansone, Walk Away the Pounds, who's on YouTube. Or if you like to dance around the house, do that. You just want to stay active, even if it's a 15-minute walk, even if it's 5 minutes, a couple of times a day. But that's going to help you stay healthy, even if there's some overeating. Especially if you're concerned about weight and you know that gaining weight is going to make your diabetes worse. Get on the scale. Some people don't want to get on the scale at all from now until January. But that's a mistake. We do know that people who avoid the scale, it's kind of like sticking your head in the sand. I don't want you to get on every day, but I would like you to get on once a week. Some people like to do twice a week, so it's not so much pressure that one day. But it's important just to know what's happening, just like it's important. What should be on here is not to check your blood sugar. A lot of my patients say, I don't want to check because it's always depressing. I don't want to know what it says. But it's never going to get better. You're never going to know what to do if you don't check. So how does your doctor know if your medicine is working if you don't check? So it's important to stay on top of weight and blood sugar, because again, this is going to happen next year. We're going to be having the same conversation. So staying on top of it this year, so you don't have all this work to do in January. That's overwhelming. So caution with buffets. I don't know, I put this in when I wrote this last week, and then things really sort of blew up. So I don't know if we're going to be going to a lot of buffets. If you do, let's say that you've been with your cohorts, there's going to be a buffet at their house.
A very small gathering.
A very small gathering. So it's a buffet with 6 people you live with. And everything's out, especially if you don't have a table. Some people don't have dining room tables, so they put everything out on the counter and people eat where they want to eat. People tend to overeat by taking some of everything. And this is really big on Thanksgiving. You see plates where there's like a pile of this and a pile of this and a pile of this and a pile of this. So look at all the food out and think, well, what do I really want? Again, if you don't really like mashed potatoes, why are you eating them? Don't waste your carbs on that. Pick what it is that you really want to have. If you really like mashed potatoes, eat the mashed potatoes. And everything should fit. Your plate shouldn't look like this to go up. Again, probably not so many parties this year. So number 5 might be kind of null. So if you're having a small family, you're with the people you live with gathering at your house and you want to put some food out, let's say for New Year's Eve, thinking about raw vegetables are always a free food and wonderful. Shrimp cocktail. Shrimp is naturally low in fat. It's a good protein. Shouldn't be fried. Sparkling water. If you have to have something like soda, we prefer diet. While still not healthy, it's not going to raise your blood sugar. Fresh fruit. Cheese is often a big snack food, but it's very easy to take in. No carbs, but a lot of fat and calories with cheese. So you want to watch the size of it, what you put out. And then keep something in your hand to drink that's low calories. So if you're talking to somebody, it's hard to sit there and eat. If you're at your house and the food's out on the counter, don't stand next to the counter talking to your mom or your sister or your daughter while you're eating. Move away from the counter so you don't have access to that food. If I could have the next slide, please. So I don't think we're going to parties. So we would apply this to Thanksgiving dinner or any holiday dinners. Eat a little something before you go. This goes in with eat breakfast. So don't go in starving. Do something with fiber or protein. So with number 8, I want to talk about what Kamal was talking about, like Thanksgiving. This is really hard. You can't really bloat. So let's say that you do eat more than you plan on Thanksgiving dinner. You don't want to wake up the next morning and be like, oh, I might as well just keep eating because I have all this leftover food and I really blew it yesterday. So I'm just going to worry about it when the food's gone. That you do not want to do. If you have a lapse where you eat more than you should, you want to avoid going into a relapse. So you want to just start fresh, whatever the next meal it is. So if you have an enormous breakfast for a holiday, you want to get right back on track at lunch. If it's the next morning, eating a healthy breakfast. So making sure there's fiber and protein, getting in your exercise. So you don't want to fall into this, oh, it's the holidays. And look, it's going to be Christmas. And then I have to make Christmas cookies. And then there's going to be Hanukkah food. And then there's going to be New Year's Eve. Well, I may as well start in January. So that's what you
Amy, I have a question.
Yeah.
So when, especially holiday, like during Christmas and Thanksgiving, New Year, so before I go to any party, now I don't have diabetes. Well, I didn't have it until, I don't know if I have it now, but I don't have it. So, but before I go to any of these parties, including our Christmas parties for the company, I would have like a couple of egg whites, like the boiled egg. Is that a healthy choice for the patient with diabetes?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I would add some fiber to that, or fruit or vegetables. So the protein is really good. It's going to keep you steady. It's going to provide some satiety to keep you full for longer. I like a little bit of fiber because, I'm always pushing the fruits and the vegetables. So it's good for blood sugar. It's also the egg white, think about, you eat a couple egg whites. Are they filling? They don't take up a lot of space in your stomach.
They actually, like for me, like if I have 2 of them, and if I go to, like, for our company, I mean, we had a couple of them, right, together at United Medical. I mean, I don't have to eat during the during the event. That's the only way that I do it is if I have like 2 egg whites.
So, okay. So I do normally recommend something with fiber because it physically takes up space in your stomach, especially if you're worried about overeating. Now, if there's going to be dinner and a good dinner, I think to have something small like the egg whites to keep you steady so you don't go crazy. But I don't advocate eating like a whole meal if you know you're going to eat the separate dinner there. And then making healthy choices at that dinner.
And I don't know if you mentioned it, but I think I don't know if we missed the alcohol part.
So I don't know if I took the slide out or if we missed it. That's a good thing to talk about is alcohol. So with alcohol, if you take insulin, alcohol will lower your blood sugar, not in a good way. It will cause a low blood sugar. So if you're drinking and you are on insulin, and this is only applies to people on insulin, you have to make sure you're eating because it's very dangerous. The people that you are drinking with should know that you have diabetes. So if you get really drowsy, they might assume you've had too much to drink, but it could be the fact that your blood sugar is crashing. So that's one thing. The next thing with alcohol is to know what a serving size is. I know the dietitians know, but do either of you know what a glass of wine is? How many ounces constitutes a serving? Any guess?
Is it 4 or 6 ounces?
5.
Oh, well, I was in the ballpark.
And a typical restaurant pour or a typical pour, how much do you think a typical pour is when somebody gives you a glass of wine? Any idea?
At a restaurant, I think it's no more than 5.
Well, it depends. So now restaurants have started giving you small and large. So let's say at home, let's say get rid of the restaurant.
It's probably 8.
Yes, it's 8 to 10. So it depends on what kind of glasses you have, to be honest. If you have the stemless are pretty popular and some of them are bigger. So if you want to use
one of those martini glasses is this big.
Yeah, so those, that's a really
I bought it, I think for the gift actually. My friend got it, so like you can have only one drink with this.
Yes. If you're drinking a beer, that's 12 ounces. And then if you are drinking liquor, it's a shot or 1.5 ounces. So people say, well, I'm going to drink vodka because it's low carb. It's still, all alcohol is 90 to 110 calories per shot. There's no low calorie alcohol. It doesn't exist. So you have to pay attention to what you're drinking. You have to know that it's going to affect your blood sugar. And what are you mixing with your liquor? Is it juice? Well, now you know your sugar is going to spike and you're adding all that to it. If you're going to drink that, I'd rather you drink one and drink it with something like club soda, which has no sugar in it. Which is, if you really love sugar, that would be the exception. I'd say put something diet in there, because then at least I don't have to worry about your blood sugar going up. With wine, what's the healthiest type of wine? Does anybody know?
Red.
So technically, yes, red has heart. No medical organization is ever going to say that you should drink because of the bad parts that come with it. So red does have heart health benefits, yes. So in terms of heart health, red is healthy. In terms of calories, sparkling like champagne has lower calories in it. So they're all kind of created equal. I always say it's what you would enjoy with one glass and be done. A serving of alcohol per day, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong on this. It used to be 2 drinks for men was allowed, 1 drink for women. I believe I just read they're changing that to 1 drink for everybody. The men don't get 2. I don't know if you guys, no.
I haven't heard anything about that, but I will say also with the drinking, is what I like to remind people is the snacking that comes with the drinking. So not only are you consuming extra calories with your beverage, but then you're also getting, you're gonna pick a little bit more at the dip. You're gonna have that extra or a bigger piece of pie. So just to keep that in mind as well as a unintended consequence of drinking.
Yeah, that's a good point. And the first thing to go when you've been drinking is your judgment. So you might have really good plans that you're not going to eat extra, but then as Cassandra said, well, there's that food right there. And you've had some, you took the edge off with the alcohol and it looks really good. So you might just keep eating and then really regret it the next morning. In terms of beer comes in a huge, there's 60 calorie, really low carb beer. And then there's IPAs or really high alcohol beers. So paying attention to what you're drinking is really important. And I would put it in there with the foods that, if you're a beer drinker, why are you drinking this beer that you don't like? Have one beer and enjoy that one that you like, and be done and move on to something else. Any other alcohol points that I missed?
I mean, with alcohol, it's tough. If they're a drinker, they're gonna drink. So, but I think like what I was gonna say, if they are not having wine, maybe if they are having like any hard liquor, ice. If you keep a lot of ice, that kind of waters it down. So then maybe that helps.
It dilutes it. So it dilutes the alcohol, and you have less calories because you're taking something like this and making it bigger. So certainly ice helps. Any sort of calorie-free thing that you're mixing it with, ice, water, club soda, is a good thing.
Yeah.
And
so that was our last slide. Amy, I don't know. I mean, we can take questions if there are any questions.
Any questions, comments?
I mean, I think this was helpful, not just from the diabetes management, but how to manage the diabetes during the holiday season. So the same issues we are going to talk about during the Christmas time. The same problems we are going to probably have it during that time. But even for anyone, like if, having a big meal, like if it's going to, that anticipation, usually, I have done that maybe several times. And if I go crazy that day versus if I actually can maybe like play tennis in the morning of like the Thanksgiving day, or if I have a long walk and then come to it and then just not wait until the dinner time and then just eat some stuff. Those, even for people without diabetes, helps. So I think just planning and reducing the anxiety, the anticipation probably they're all going to be helpful altogether. And plus, as you mentioned earlier, during the COVID-19 time, there's already some stress. So I think everyone probably in the family should be more mindful of those with diabetes, so then they can support. So this is not just one person, but who we live with have a lot to do with it. So hopefully family members can also be mindful too.
I think it's a really good point, paying attention. And I think there is going to be stress now with pandemic. But I think in the spring, there was a lot of extra eating because there was so much unknown and it was so out of the blue. Now we've been living on the edge for months. We've been shut down, stay at home before. So now, and I was baking all the time in the spring. Oh, I'm going to teach myself how to make soft pretzels today. But I've been through all that and I know what good did that do for me? Nothing. So how, I still have to be, even though I'm home, I still have to take care of my health because I can't control the pandemic, but I can control my own health. So making those good decisions. And you're right. If somebody in my family has diabetes, what am I doing making soft pretzels? That's not good sport. I should be encouraging better habits for them. So I think that's a really good point. And then the other thing that you said earlier, which I think is key, is planning ahead. So being aware, this is what I'm going to do later in the day, rather than just sitting down and eating.
And I also think planning ahead by shopping. So our shopping tour is not only a great tip for patients with diabetes, but Samantha did a great job of pointing out other things. I mean, patients who, and we see patients with all kinds of illnesses and diseases. So, helping them with like the low salt options is good for our patients with, heart issues or high blood pressure and things like that. So online shopping, I think that's good. And also usually when you put things in your cart, you can see your total. So at the grocery store, when you just keep throwing things in the cart, you don't know. So you're usually surprised if you're me when I get to the register. I'm like, oh, what did I buy? Whereas when you're putting in your online cart, you get to see along the way. And sometimes I think it helps you to make better choices because then you're like,
yeah.
Well, I do want to thank Cassandra and Samantha joining us, as well as Amy and Donna. So this was a really good session. Hopefully it is helpful for our patients as well. So do you guys have any closing comments?
I want to thank Sam and Cassandra for doing this. Thank you, Sam, for making the tour, and Cassandra, we started working on this in summer, so hopefully more collaborating. It's really, really helpful for our patients to know exactly what to buy, so I appreciate it.
Great. And I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Guys, thank you so much again. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. Good night.
Good night.